Hi, everybody. This is episode 2 that's coming up right now. And I wanted to tell you, if you haven't seen episode 1, you need to see that first. I highly recommend you do it in order. They're in chronological order. And there's an intro in episode 1 that kind of explains to you more about my story, my memoir, and how it ties into social justice and white supremacy in America in general. But episode 1 was great. People are really enjoying it, liking it. It's resonating. And I've got a lot of great positive feedback. So here comes episode 2. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for watching.
Episode 2, The Tailwind Privilege, From Waverly to the SCAD Furnace. In Waverly, the N-word wasn't just a slur. It was the air we breathed. We were poor, we lived in trailers, and we were drowning in our own insignificance. We white kids used that word to create a floor beneath us so we wouldn't have to look at the abyss of our own poverty. But in 1981, the poison I'd been taught to swallow finally turned on me. My friend Doug called me with a plan. He was over at Magoo's house, Michael Washington's house. He said, "Hey, if you come over and spend the night at Magoo's tonight, we're all going to go out and build a fort." I remember the excitement of a young boy wanting to belong. I went and asked my mom if I could go sleep over at Magoo's. My mom's face went cold. She looked at me and said, "No, he is an N-word. You are not allowed to sleep over with N-words." I was a boy who wanted to be a man in her eyes. I wanted her to see me as loyal. Doug was holding on the line, and I went back to the receiver. I didn't know Magoo was on the extension, holding his breath, listening to me discard his humanity. I told Doug, "I can't come. My mom said she doesn't want me to spend the night with N-words." And then I heard it. The mechanical, soft click of the extension line hanging up on the other end. Magoo had been there the whole time. Doug's voice came through, hollow and heavy. "Hey." Magoo was on the other line. That moment was the first time in my entire life that I ever questioned my racism. I had used that word to protect a lie, never knowing that the boy whose home I was rejecting was listening to me. That sound, and the realization of what I had done to Magoo, would vibrate in my gut for 35 years. In the middle of all that darkness, I had a few rare lights that kept me from losing my way entirely. The first was my sister, Leda. My stepfather always accepted her. She was the acceptable one in his eyes. She was smart, she made good grades, and she was skinny. Because she hit every mark he set, she didn't catch the same hell that I did. She wasn't the target of his shaming or his abuse. But even though she was safe, she never turned her back on me. I'll never forget that night in Daytona Beach, right after my stepdad had finished traumatizing me, shaking me, calling me a monster, and force-feeding me that V8 juice. I was back in the hotel room, and I couldn't stop crying. Leda was only 6 years old, and even though she was the golden child who could do no wrong, she chose to stand by the brother who was being broken. She came over to me while I was sobbing and told me, "He is wrong. He's just a mean man." As a little girl, she did her best to defend me whenever she could. I don't know if I would have made it through without her truth. Then there was my best friend, my dog Brownie. He was a year old when I was 4, and he was my shadow all the way through middle school and high school. We did everything together. Swimming in the creek and playing in the yard. I have such vivid memories of us playing together in the wintertime. Brownie would grab my coat sleeve with his teeth and literally drag me all over the yard, both of us lost in the excitement of the game. When we were finally worn out, we would find a patch of that warm winter sun and just sleep there together for hours on the ground. Dogs are the only truly safe harbor because they don't judge you. They don't care about your body, your intelligence, or your social status. Their unconditional love is a rare thing. They are fundamentally safer than people because they only ever see your heart. Brownie was my therapy long before I knew what that word meant. And of course, there was Jerry. We've been running together since the 5th grade. Jerry's middle name is Loyal, and he lives up to that name every day. He's the kind of man you can always depend on. When the shaming and the lectures at home became too much to bear, I could always escape with Jerry. We would jump on our motorcycles and vanish into the woods, laughing and cutting up until the world felt right again. Jerry was my oxygen. Between Lita's defense, Brownie's safety, and Jerry's loyalty, I found just enough oxygen to keep going. To survive the shame of home, I found armor in two worlds, acting and art. But the truth is, I was a very shy kid. I'm still a pretty shy man today. I've never really been good at just being myself. I've never felt truly comfortable in my own skin. But when I discovered I could mimic people, their voices, their mannerisms, their souls, I found a mask that felt like safety. Behind that mask, I felt comfortable. On the school bus, I would perform characters in comedy so relentlessly that I would get kicked off and have to walk home. I would imitate my teachers behind their backs, sometimes getting caught while they were standing right behind me. I'd get in horrible trouble and get paddled more times than I can count. But I'd take the hit and go right back to the character. By my senior year, even though I was still so shy, people actually begged me to perform. I didn't want the spotlight, but my classmates convinced me. I went out in drag as a cheerleader and performed comedy routines that made the whole school roar. Because of that, I was voted into the title of Most Wittiest Superlative. My peers chose me for that honor, celebrating the mask that let me step out of my shell. While the comedy was my mask, art was my sanctuary. I was obsessed with surrealism. When I was 16, I finally learned how to shade. That breakthrough changed everything. I wasn't just drawing lines anymore. I was creating depth and light. I started winning art contests, and that talent eventually carried me out of Waverly on a scholarship to the Savannah College of Art and Design, SCAD. In 1985, I arrived at SCAD and walked right into a psychological furnace. My roommates, Alan and Ward, were yuppie architecture majors from extreme wealth. They were superficial to the core, mocking my clothes, my shoes, my hair, and my personality. I became so deeply ashamed of my southern roots that I made a conscious choice to kill my accent. I lost it forever, and sadly, I began to talk more like them just to stop the dismantling of my soul. The isolation was crushing. I didn't just miss my family, I missed Brownie. Without my therapist, the daily bullying, the always something pressure, was agonizing. When I would kneel by my bed to pray, Ward and Alan would stand there and laugh, turning my conversation with God into a punchline. They were the final architects of my despair, convincing me of the lie that I was fundamentally unlovable. I didn't want to be thin or wealthy like them, but I believed that because I wasn't, I was a defect, a monster, disqualified from love. This led to a 10-year black hole of depression from age 18 to 28, where every day was a struggle to feel like I belonged in this world. Ward and Alan were trying to bury me. I was drowning. I needed a miracle, and I was about to find it in 1988 in a dark room and a roommate named Reggie. Check out Episode 3, White Guilt as Black Reality, My Education with Reggie.